How's it going, guys? It's K Cars, and today I wanted to film a kind of like a driving review video, as well as give you guys reasons on why you should daily drive a Dodge Challenger. To give you guys a background, this is a 2016 Dodge Challenger ScatPack. Of course, it's a muscle car, 6.4 liter V8, 485 crank horsepower stock. This one, I actually have long tube headers and callus mid pipes on it. So along with the dyno tune, it put down 470 horsepower. So I know whenever people think about daily driving a Dodge Challenger, a lot of people want to know about the fuel economy. And, you know, I'll be honest with you, it's not good. I'm averaging 15 right now, and I usually just do mostly city driving with this car. The most I've seen is about 22 or 23 on the highway, which for a car like this, I'd say that's pretty good. And now this car does not have the MDS system anymore because the dyno tune took that out. But if this car still had that, it would probably be a little bit better than 15 right now. So if you're not familiar with what that is, the MDS system, it's the multi-displacement system. So it's kind of just like a cylinder deactivation thing. Whenever you're not hard on the throttle, it'll cut the cylinders and only run on 4. So I know a few V8 cars are like that these days, where they have the cylinder deactivation to save on fuel economy. But to be honest, if you're getting a Dodge Challenger, like any kind of Dodge Challenger with a V8, you're probably buying it to have fun with it, you know, for the performance. You're probably not buying it just strictly for daily driving or to have a practical car that's good with fuel economy. I'm not really complaining about the fuel economy, but that is something to keep in mind if you do want to daily drive a Dodge Challenger ScatPack. So other than the fuel economy being, you know, not the best for a V8, this thing is awesome to daily drive. Like this past summer, whenever I was driving this thing at least 5 days a week, it was so awesome to, you know, like drive a performance car every single day, and it was awesome. Now, it's not just the fun factor in driving a Dodge Challenger, because, you know, obviously it is fun to drive a Challenger ScatPack, but it's also a pretty safe car, I think. And that's because, you know, it has good acceleration, good brakes, and good handling just, you know, around the city. Of course, if you're going to take it to a track, it's not going to handle the best because that's not what it's made for. But, you know, just regular old city driving, if you have to make any quick maneuvers, then this thing handles really well. So for example, I was on the highway one time and I had to swerve to avoid like a dead animal in the middle of the road, and it was no problem, you know, going 70 miles an hour, just a quick swerve, split of a second decision, and it handled it just fine. So that's also a good thing about daily driving a performance car, is that you have good acceleration, good braking, and good handling. So overall, you can maneuver pretty well. Now, how does the Challenger handle bumps? Well, let's find out right now. Got a good amount of bumps right there. And of course, the Challenger does have a pretty stiff suspension. I'm not complaining about that because it's a performance car. It's supposed to be stiff. And overall, it really is a comfortable ride. These seats are really nice too. They really hold you in too, so you're not like sliding around a lot. And you know, they really are comfortable, I think. Even for long road trips, I've driven this car, I don't know, probably 5 to 6 hours was my longest trip in this car, and it handled it just fine. And I've taken this car on several different trips, so it hasn't failed me a single time. I haven't had any problems whatsoever with this car. The only kind of thing that I've had a problem with was whenever I first got this car and took it on the first drive, I got a warning that said service stability control, but it went away by itself, so I'm not too sure what that was. So pull the windows down here so you guys can hear the exhaust a little bit. Now see how it takes this turn. Okay, I'm not doing anything crazy, but I mean, it handled that turn really well. So for daily driving, you know, like I said, good handling, good maneuverability, that's what you want, and that's what a performance car can give you. And along with that, being able to hear the exhaust of this car, it just makes it so much better to drive, so much more fun as well. Now, of course, since this car is more stiff, it's low to the ground, of course you do have to be more careful with bumps, speed bumps, or anything that could be laying on the road, like dead animals or tree branches maybe. Those are all things you have to be a lot more careful about when daily driving a car like this. See, like, I probably wouldn't even try to go up that hill right there, just because of how steep the incline is. I'd be afraid that I would scrape the front trying to get up that hill. Yeah, I mean, this thing never fails to put a smile on my face. I'll be completely honest with that. It's popping quite a good bit today. So yeah, there definitely are a few downsides with daily driving this thing, but it's really not something that I'm like actually worried about. And you know, that sound and the performance, it all makes up for the little amount of negative things that I can come up with that have to do with daily driving this thing. Yeah, it's definitely popping a good bit today. It sounds awesome. Yeah, this thing never gets old. I love whenever it pops like that. But yeah, right here there's a pretty good bump at the bottom of this hill, so I usually have to go pretty slow whenever I'm exiting or entering this intersection right here. And that might be a downside to some people, because if there's people behind me and I'm going slow or accelerating too slow or whatever, then you know, it's pretty easy to make people mad. But yeah, another thing I wanted to mention are the blind spots on this car. So if you look back there, if you guys can see that, there is a pretty good amount of blind spot back there. So that is one downside of daily driving this car. But, you know, I heard one of the videos I made on this car, I talked about the blind spots, and somebody commented, you get rid of the blind spots with horsepower. And I guess that is true, unless there's somebody in front of you, so that you can't actually like clear the blind spots with horsepower. But yeah, that's not a bad idea. But yeah, overall, I'd say this car is really fun to daily drive. Yeah, the blind spots are there, but you just gotta get used to them, and it definitely is possible to get used to the blind spots. And then also, you know, the ground clearance isn't that high, so you have to make sure that you know how high of like bumps can you clear, and you got to watch out for dead animals or, I don't know, tree branches on the road. But then again, if there is something on the road, you can easily maneuver around it because of the handling that this car has. So, you know, there are negatives, of course, but you can turn them into positives, I guess, just by thinking about it like that. And then another thing about this car is, if you're in like public parking, then you have the risk of people keying your car or dinging your door, which I actually have had that happen in the same exact parking garage. But, and I'll show you guys what it looks like whenever I get out, but for now, just enjoy the sound of this exhaust. Hopefully there's no cop sitting in this garage, because the last time I was here, there was a cop sitting on the second to last floor. So I'm not going to do anything too crazy. That exhaust never gets old. So I don't know how well you guys can see this, but right here is the door ding that I was talking about. I used touch-up paint to kind of paint over it, but you can definitely still see that it is there. And so, you know, one thing I told you guys is that you do need to watch out for like animals on the road. And I actually did hit an opossum a while ago, but you really can't tell. There's a little dent right over here. You probably can't even see it on camera, but there is a dent right there. And So yeah, if I was in my Jeep, I could just, you know, drive straight over the animal and wouldn't hit him at all. So that's another downside of driving a low car like this. But, you know, like I said, I feel like all the positives of this thing make up for the negatives, especially just how fun this car is to drive every single day. Now, of course, if you're like me and you're OCD about keeping this car clean, then, you know, daily driving this car isn't the easiest thing, especially when it rains, because, you know, I'm really OCD about keeping this thing clean, even though you can probably tell how dirty this thing is right now. I definitely have to clean it soon. So yeah, I mean, overall, I'd say the Dodge Challenger really is pretty easy to daily drive. You just have to get used to it. Like, I'd say the only downsides would be, I guess, fuel economy, if you care about that, blind spots, and then, you know, worrying about how low the car is. So going over speed bumps and having to watch out for things that are on the road, like maybe dead animals or tree branches that are on the road. But those are really the only things I can think about that aren't, you know, completely positive. Like I said, with the blind spots, you know, that's your view right there to the right, but you can definitely get used to that, or like I said, use the horsepower to clear the blind spots. That's one way to think about it if you want to do that. You can even fit people in the back here. Of course, there isn't much legroom, but it definitely is possible. And I can show you how much room there is in the trunk on the Challenger, because it actually is a good amount of room. So I'll show you guys right over here. As you can see, I have 2 backpacks in here right now and a bunch of room. And the rear seats also fold back. So one time I actually did fit a whole guitar case, like a bass guitar case, and it fit perfectly in there with the seats down. So it's not a small car. There's a reason they call this thing a boat. It weighs a lot and it's pretty big, but I mean, the performance makes up for that, I think. It's just an awesome car to, you know, race, to go on the track, road course, drag strip, or just daily drive, whatever you want to do. It's just an all-around awesome car. But I would say if you do have a family, then go for the Charger instead of the Challenger, just because, you know, 4 doors and it has more room on the inside. And it's still a really quick car too. Like, I've raced a Charger ScatPack and barely pulled on him. Here's that video if you want to watch it.
1, 2, go!
I think it weighs maybe like 200 more pounds, something like that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope it helped out some people if you are thinking about getting a Challenger to daily drive. Definitely no problem daily driving this car. So if you guys have any video suggestions for videos you'd like to see in the future, drop those down in the comments, as well as any questions that you have. And if you found this video entertaining or informative, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching. So you guys are probably gonna laugh at me for this, but I think one of the biggest struggles of daily driving this car is just finding a good spot to park. So as you can see, I parked in this spot right over here. I'm on the second from the top floor. I didn't want to park on the very top because it's about to rain and I didn't want this car to get rained on. I didn't want to park on the entrance floor because I didn't want people on the road to be able to see this car and maybe come mess with it or anything like that. So that's why I'm on the second from top floor. I didn't want to park on that side because I didn't want people on that side of the road to see it. Right here, there's this little like beam covering it up from the road, so I don't have to worry about people looking at it from this side. I didn't want to park over on this side because I was worried about somebody speeding up this ramp and being on the gas too hard and, I don't know, maybe oversteering and hitting me if I was over there. And I didn't want to park on the actual ramp because I just wanted to park on a flat spot. I didn't want to park over there because I didn't want people down below to see the car. So that brought me to this spot over here. But then again, if somebody's speeding up this ramp and they're not on the gas, they might understeer and hit me over there. But that's the best thing I could come up with. So yeah, I guess I could have parked over there too, but that's near the elevators and that's where people are going to be coming in and out of. So I don't know, I feel like this is the best spot I could come up with. So let me know if you guys kind of go through the same exact thought process whenever you're trying to find a good parking spot for your car, or if I'm just the only one that does that and if I'm crazy, because that's what most of my friends think. So let me know down below, and once again, thanks for watching.